Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Summers Jr. and I'm joined by my co-host David, aka SportsNTunes. What up,
What
David?
up? Good evening, guys.
Good evening. We got a special guest with us tonight. We got Ronny Rios. How's it going, Ronnie?
How you doing? Thank you guys for having me here. It's such a pleasure, man. Thank you guys so
Um,
much.
the, the pleasure's all ours, man. You're a legend in our book, so thank you for making the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Anytime you guys want me on here, anytime you guys need me on here, more than welcome to be part of the show, man. So thank you guys.
Love it. All right. Before we start the interview, I want to share a clip of some of your highlights, so people that aren't as familiar with Ronny Rios can get a feel for your fighting style. So let me go ahead and play that clip. There we go, man. I love how you mix it up to the body and the head.
Yeah, of course.
I think some boxers sometimes get stuck just going to the head when there's the whole body to go after.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta mix it up, mix and match, because you can't. You never want your opponent to just keep reading it, and once you get to a certain level, you gotta learn how to mix and match. Instead of just going with the same thing, because everybody always seems to be going after the same thing, which is the head.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question we have for you, Ronnie, we like asking all our boxers to come on this question just to see how they got their start into the sport. So it's, how did he get into boxing?
So the way I got into boxing, my mom, she went to Mexico on a trip with at that time, which Alexis' dad, her husband, and my uncle was taking care of us. And my uncle lived in Santa Ana. Well, at that time we lived in Santa Ana, so he took care of us. And we started, and I picked up a magazine. It was a KO magazine, and on the cover was Sugar Shane Mosley versus Winter Force, Part 2. It was the second one, and I read the spinner, and I read the centerfold. I was like, man, those are some cool names. And I started reading it, and I really got into boxing. And then the first fight I ever watched, like live on TV, was Floyd Mayweather versus Jose Luis Castillo, Part 2. I was into boxing. I remember, I would work out on my own. I was always by myself. I would train by myself, work out, run, watch boxing videos. And then I remember this was in October. I saw the fight, Friso Kendo versus Chris Bird, two heavyweights. I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't too familiar with those names, but Chris Bird was he's a very slick heavyweight. So I watched the fight, and then I watched it on a Saturday, and then on Monday I went to the gym. I remember my uncle was like, "Oh, I know this coach. He's like this tough guy." So we're supposed to go with this other coach, but that day he wasn't there. So we ended up going with Hector Lopez. And I remember we showed up, and you guys are familiar with Hector Lopez.
Yeah.
He has light skin, green eyes. At that time he had a full set of hair. He had slick back hair, and I was like, man, this guy does not look like an intimidating coach. So. Yeah, at that time, because he was young, he was a lot younger than he is now. So I was like, man. And so then, he's like, okay. We gave him the sheets that we filled out. He read. He's like, okay, go run. So I went to go run, and then the rest was history. I stayed with the same coach my entire career, amateur, professional, and that's why I started boxing.
That's nice. Amazing. That's amazing.
That's Coach Heck, right? They call him Coach Heck.
Yeah, Coach A. It's funny because even though even now after I haven't been going to the gym, we still mess around and stuff. So that guy cracks me up, man. He's such a character.
And it turns out he didn't come out as a bad coach after all, man. All you guys achieved together shows that
I know. But I never said a bad coach. I said he doesn't look intimidating.
No, yeah, right. No, we're just saying that the looks are like you look
sorry.
Yeah, no, we never called him a bad coach.
Wait, just to clarify, in case he's watching, I'm not calling you bad.
No, it was funny. So the other coach that we're supposed to go with, he was bald, tough looking guy, obviously from Santa Ana, bald. And then we ended up going with Hector, slick back hair, colored eyes, light skin. So I remember I was like, all right, I'm going to stick with this coach. And we ended up making it pretty far in the amateurs. The furthest anyone at that point had made it. We made it to the Olympic trials. We came within a point or two from making the Olympic team.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question, which is you've had a very decorated amateur career with the first place finishes in the men's nationals, golden gloves, world golden gloves, under 19 national silver gloves, and national junior golden gloves. Could you tell us how much work it took to get to that elite level in the amateurs and some of the sacrifices you had to take to make?
I think the sacrifices are the important key, because I am from Santa Ana. For those people that don't know Santa Ana is like a very hard, it's a very beautiful place, but it's also very tough too. Most of the friends I grew up with were all cholos. They would always go out and, party, drink, and stuff like that. So when I was boxing, I stuck to boxing, man. I used to go to the gym. Come back, and then my mom too. Obviously, she remarried, but my brother's dad wasn't in the picture too much, so I felt bad just going out and doing all the stuff that my other friends were doing. So I stuck to being home. I stuck to being dedicated to the sport. Sacrifice anything you can think of. Every time there was a school dance, a party. Now I can't have to go to the gym because so we work out 5 to 6 days a week sometimes. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then staying with your amateur career, I was looking at the box rec, and a name stood out to me that you fought twice. I believe it was like Gary Russell Jr. and you guys split wins in the amateurs. What do you recall from only one time? What do you recall from fighting him?
I remember during the fight, it was kind of weird because I was in the zone, so I can't really remember too much about it. I just remember the instructions that my coach was telling me, and I do remember during the fight. I believe it was in the last and final round. I remember his dad was like, "Oh, you need to knock him out, Gary," and I was like, "Oh, give me some sort of confidence." And then, yeah, man, when I heard the decision, I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of upset with the politics of boxing because a lot of people don't know the politics of boxing. I mean, it's just behind closed doors.
Right.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. So you turned pro at 18 years old, which was less than an hour from your hometown. Were you looking to make a statement on winning your first fight by KO, or did it just come naturally with the fight?
It just came natural. I did want to show. I did want to go out there and show a statement. I did that. I stopped him in the first round. And a funny fact was I don't know if you guys remember Edwin Valerio. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
He was there at my pro debut. I remember somebody had a team wheelchair. It was one of my close friends at that time. And he came up to him and was like, "Oh, you know Ronnie?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know him. He's a good friend of mine." So I was like, "Damn, that's pretty cool, to have somebody of that stature notice, your fight." I was like, "Damn, that was so cool."
Right.
Nice. and then Ronnie, you ended up signing with Golden Boy, which at the time you're signing, Golden Boy was running all SoCal boxing. They're like the big name. When did you end up signing with them, and what was that process like?
So I think I went pro at 19. I went pro at 19, and I probably signed with them maybe when I was like 20 or 21. I cannot remember. I signed with them. It was real cool. It was like, oh, Golden Boy. And then it was even cool. It was even better when we met the staff because there's a couple of people that I've grown really close to over the years. Robert Dees being one of them, and then Ernie too. From Everlast. So it was just a cool feeling being able to not only sign with them but re-sign with them an additional 5 years. So that was awesome, man. That was just. And then obviously meeting Oscar Deloy as a fighter, he was one of the biggest names in boxing. So getting to meet him was just another plus.
Yeah. Were there other promotional offers you were considering at that time?
I remember, I don't want to mention any names, but there's somebody in my camp that I mentioned Top Rank, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Top Rank. Top Rank is somewhat interested." I don't know from my point of view. I'm just telling you what I heard, and I was like, nah, you know what, man? I was like, I want to go with Golden Boy. I was like, I don't want to look elsewhere. I don't want to look anywhere else. I wanted to be committed to Golden Boy, and I was my entire career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made it seem like Golden Boy is the promotion that opened the door to many other people to open promotions as well. Before you'd see Don King promotions only, and then nowadays you have a whole bunch of different promoters, and you see how they go at it for the best fight offers and the best TV broadcasting rights. And Golden Boy's still up there, so that was a good decision, Ronnie.
Yeah, I think it's really good to see Golden Boy doing well right now. Not only are they doing well, but they're also putting a lot of entertaining fights. So that's just another plus side for me as a fight fan looking in the inside. Something where you can Friday, Saturday night watch boxing fights and entertaining boxing fights.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So then we also know your first pro loss came to Robinson Castellanos in 2014. What do you think you did wrong in that fight, and how did you rebound after it?
I think as a fighter, you just got to learn from your mistakes, and I think I did a lot of things wrong. Um, I don't know if you saw the fight before Robinson. I had fought Andrew Cancio, and I kept doing the same mistake over and over again. And Robinson capitalized on it, which was I kept giving the other fighters the back of my head, and he threw a straight right, and it was my fault. I turned just like I was doing in the past, and he got me back of the head. I remember just I fell down. That was the first time I've ever been dropped in sparring, boxing, anything. And I remember once I hit the floor, it was weird because it was like being inside a room and someone turns the lights off and then they turn it back on and I'm on the floor, and I was like, what the hell? How did I get here? I remember I hit myself with two hands, and I was like, man, how did I get here? I was like, you better get up and you better get that point back. So I got up and I was never able to recover, but my hat went off to Robinson. He did what he should have done, and it sucked because I was down after that. Like, man, I lost to somebody that had double-digit losses, and it was very very hard for me to come back. But my team my team helped me tremendously come back up. Also my support system too. My girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now, my mom, my friends. Because obviously when you're at that stage, a lot of the people that you thought are your friends, they just take off. Oh, you lose, oh, you lost. Oh, bye. See, boom, take off. Um, but the real ones stayed by me and they helped me out. I remember after the Robinson fight, I came back and I fought what was his name? I want to say Sergio Frias. I think it was Sergio Frias. Fought Sergio Frias, and I was not happy with my performance. I was very very disappointed. And then afterwards, I was really struggling. And then that's when they offered us the Jason Velez fight in Vegas on the undercard. It was a big card too. It was Miguel Cotto versus Canelo. So I remember I told
Wow.
Hector, yeah, I
Yeah,
told Hector, I was like, hell yeah. I was like, this is the fight. These are the fights that I want. So I prepared myself. He was the A side because he was undefeated, and we went out there and we won our first. It was like kind of like a WBC silver belt. That was the first time we won that one.
nice.
That's huge, man. Like I said, world stage, and you were kind of coming in as a B side, and you got the
Yeah,
upset win. It's
that
awesome.
was cool. That was cool. That was one of the coolest. That's what a lot of people don't know is like after going through so many ups and downs, um, things some things aren't the same, and then you're struggling, financial whatever with your personal life, and then you go out there and you prepare for 8 to 10 weeks for such a big fight. You go out there and you win. It's just like, oh man, heck yeah, this is why we train so hard for. This is why you sacrifice so much. It's just people don't know just the joy it brings to you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
And then, Ronnie, I want to ask you about another opponent of yours, Ray Vargas. He's obviously an elite fighter. No one yet has been able to defeat him in the ring. What were some troubles that he presented to you during your fight?
I think his height. His height. He really knows how to use his height. And his legs too. He was using his legs a lot too. And I think that and it just a lot of people just don't know. Sometimes fighters tend to overthink events, and I think that was one of the fights that, looking back, was just damn. You get mad at yourself for overthinking these fights, and that was one of the fights that I overthought a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Well, on to better news. We saw you win against Diego De La Hoya. I think that was one of the clips we saw in the beginning, and that was back in 2019. Was there an extra satisfaction in your victory because of his last name? And were you derailing on the hype train from that?
No, not at all, man. I don't care about the last name. It's just like going back to what I said in the past. So you have such a tough road. People don't understand. It's like you suffer a lot, whether it's financial and stuff like that. Just it was a very very hard road. I remember when they stopped the fight, I was just like, if you look at the clip after they stopped the fight, I remember I put my gloves on my head, and I was like, man, I can't believe they stopped. I was like, damn, I can't believe the fight's over. It's just it hit me, I was like, wow. It was just an awesome feeling, man. Very awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then, Ronny, we want to ask you obviously about your most recent fight. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, so we'll go by MJ because we'll all know who we're talking about when we say MJ. So I know leading up to that fight, you were mentioning that we're going to see the best version of Ronny Rios. Did you end up delivering the best version of Ronny Rios, and MJ was just too skillful, or do you think you still had like another gear to deliver?
Nah, man, I don't think not even close. I didn't deliver the best of myself, but you learn from losses, and yeah, I think he was a better fighter that night. I think he came prepared, and obviously it showed in the fight. He won, and my hat goes off to him, man. What can I say?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's next in your career, man? Do you have a date for your return, or are you just gonna hang it up? What's going on?
At the moment, yeah, I am. I'm more than likely gonna hang up. I'm pretty much hung them up, to be honest with you guys. A lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure I can still do it. But the thing is, it's just like you train and you hype yourself up like, yeah, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. And then when you lose, especially the way I lost a couple of times, it's devastating. You know, it's devastating. It has nothing to do with health. It's just just being devastated from, obviously losing and stuff like that. It's very, very hard.
Yeah, I completely understand because outside of boxing being a physical sport, it's also a very mental sport. So putting the work in to train and then show up for the fight can completely understand your decision. But if you do, you kind of get that itch to go back in the ring. I did end up finding a potential future opponent, and I want to kind of play that clip and get your thoughts on him. So let me go ahead and find that video.
We have a question. Mo Boxing No Problem says, any plans to make your US step in the near future, maybe against someone like Ronny Rios?
Yeah, send me over there. I'll go rumble over there, no problem.
The guy mentioned Ronny Rios, right? Ronny Rios is a very good inside fighter, so that maybe that's something I would like to see for sure, because I do want to see someone really try to push you.
Tell Ronny Rios I want to fight him.
There we go.
All right, so that was Liam Davies. He's ranked number 17 in the world, number 1 in the UK, hasn't fought in the US. And I was thinking, like, what better opponent than Ronny Rios to welcome him to the US? What have you seen him fight? Any thoughts on him?
No, man, I haven't seen anybody in my weight class. I watch other fighters and stuff like that, but no, I really haven't been keeping up with my weight class. And not only that, honestly, if I were to come back, I don't think I'd be able to make 122 anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure, 122 would be out of the picture if I were to come back.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No,
for sure. So, how do you prepare for fights? Do you watch tapes on your opponents, study their style, or do you just make improvements for your own self and just go based on your training camp and your dedication?
No, you gotta watch. You have to watch tapes of your opponents. You gotta see their mistakes, their strengths, stuff like that. And when I used to train for fights, I used to like, okay, if a right hand is gonna, if he's open to a right hand, what can I do to strengthen my right hand? So I would always also like put that into play too. It's a long process. It's you gotta cut weight correctly too. It's everything. It's not just one thing. It's physical. It's mental. It's preparation. Sacrifice. It's a lot of different things.
for sure. Great. All right, and then my next question, Ronny, I want to ask you about the Los Angeles boxing scene. I think it's definitely one of the biggest scenes in kind of in the boxing world. Lots of great fighters. What are your thoughts on the people that are in the elite level in LA and also up and coming boxers?
I just think I think it's a very great position for LA, not just LA, to be honest with you, everywhere, worldwide. The only thing that I would like to see as a fan is for the promoters to come together, because obviously there's so many great fights that can be made, but it's just egos are in the way. Like, you know what? Like, why don't they just? Doesn't mean they have to be friends. Just put their egos aside and make all these great fights happen. There's so many great fights, to happen. One of them that I really want to see is the Tyson Fury fight. I heard he's coming back to fight. That's gonna be a good fight. I want to see that one. Obviously, Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I want to see that. There's so many fights that can be made that it's just set the egos aside. Not only are they gonna be entertaining fights, but these fighters will get to make more money as well too.
Yeah, one of the fights that I'm disappointed we got robbed because it was like a different networks was Jaime Munguia versus Jamal Charlo. That would have been good for both fighters, but the Zone and I guess Showtime couldn't come to agreement on that fight, and they both went their separate ways.
The egos that we're talking about.
That's another fight that would have been good to see. That would have been a real good fight, and unfortunately, more than likely, it's probably not going to happen unless one of them use their promoters. But that would be so. I mean, isn't the sport of boxing to see who the best fighter is, not to fight for the best promoter? I mean, that's what I thought this was. Why don't they just why don't they just set their egos aside and obviously come to terms on the fight?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, like the promoters, they're not gonna fight each other.
Exactly. Like, imagine how much more money can their fighters make by fighting amongst each other? You can sell out arenas. You can do all this. You can do stuff. You can do stuff that we weren't able to do in boxing before because times have changed. Now there's different technology. Now there's different arenas. Obviously with Logan Paul, there's more people coming into boxing now. As far as fans, there's different things you can tap into. But obviously we're shooting ourselves in the foot by not making these fights happen.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree. But compared to the past, we're not getting fights like Pacquiao fighting Mayweather when Pacquiao's already on his way out of retirement. We're actually getting fights sooner than later nowadays. That's the plus, and it's good for the sport. So the next question is, you're from Santa Ana and you represent us proudly. How significant of a role has your community played on your boxing career?
I think it's made major significance. I love Santa Ana. I still live here. I still run the streets even though I'm not getting ready for a fight. I still work out. I still go to all these functions. I still check out all these new restaurants and stuff like that. So I'm telling you, man, not only has Santa Ana had a huge impact on my life, but I feel, and this is just my opinion, I feel like Santa Ana is going to change so much within the next couple of years because obviously we do get a bad rep for being ghetto and all this stuff, but there's just so many changes going behind closed doors that people don't know about. I have a feeling that Santa Ana will be the mecca of Orange County in the next couple of years.
Yeah, man. I've been out there and I've seen a lot of improvement on a lot of the bars, restaurants, better venues nowadays. And then we had that Chicano meeting with your brother getting an award.
Yeah,
great things coming to Orange County. Absolutely.
And I have a feeling that they're going to continue to come too. So, like I said, in a couple of years, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be worth a lot more than what it's worth right now. And in my opinion, Santa Ana is still expensive. It's still expensive, but I have a feeling that its value, and its price are going to go up even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time.
And then Ronny, as we mentioned, so Southern California is a hotbed for boxing, lots of great talent. But what's the furthest you've had to travel to get good sparring?
To get good sparring, Indio. Well, actually, when I was getting ready for the Olympic trials, my coach and I went to Cincinnati.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I went to Cincinnati to get some sparring, some real quick sparring. That was cool, man. That was a cool experience. Cincinnati. We stayed in Kentucky, but we were training in Cincinnati. That was a real cool, and we also trained in Alabama as well too.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty far.
It is pretty far, but like I said, man, if you want to get far in this sport, you gotta sacrifice. Whether it's going over here to spar, whether it's not eating this, not doing that, but it was all worth it, man.
Totally. Then we also heard you got sparring from Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Can you tell us about that?
Jesse Bam is gonna be he's gonna be a big champion. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna be surprised when he not just wins one world title in one weight class, but he wins multiple champions in different weight classes.
Yeah, I agree.
We're with you.
108 to 115, and not only did he win, but he won convincingly. He knocked Cuadras down, and then look at his last fight. That guy obviously has a solid win over Chocolatito. And look what Bam did to him.
Yeah, like he looked so comfortable doing it too. He looked like
he looked so poised.
Yeah.
He could be the future face of boxing. He's that talented.
Yeah.
He's a lot of people's pound for pound number one. A lot of people that we've asked on our interviews, they choose Bam as a pound for pound.
He's good, man. I've sparred with him several times. He's really, really good. Very crafty. I remember when I first started sparring with Bam, I was like, okay, obviously he didn't have that many fights as much as he has now. And I was like, man, I was like, damn, this guy has a lot of experience for the little amount of fights he has. And I was like, damn. So to see him go out there and win the way he's winning, I'm not surprised.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then Ronnie, who's been the hardest puncher you've been in the ring with, either in sparring or in your pro fights?
I'm probably gonna have to say the last fight. MJ. He hit hard. Yeah.
Is he one of Coach Joel Diaz fighters?
Who?
Coach Joel Diaz, is that his trainer?
Yeah, that's his coach.
Yeah, Joel Diaz. Yeah, he brings a bunch of fighters out from like Eastern Europe.
Yeah. He's a good coach. A lot of them go to him. There's a lot of good coaches. There's a lot of good coaches in this sport.
Yeah.
But I stuck with the same coach my entire career. I don't regret it. As a matter of fact, if I were to ever move forward, it would be with him. But like I said, there's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of good coaches in this sport.
Yeah. So, growing up, who was your favorite boxer? Who was your idol growing up?
Man, I used to have so many different. I used to really like how Sugar Shane Mosley used to fight. Fernando Vargas is up there. Oscar De La Hoya is up there. I used to really like Chavez Senior. Mike, you know who a lot of people don't really talk about, and to me, he's one of the best heavyweights of all time. Lennox Lewis.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Lewis.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was the fact he was from the UK. I guess at that time that he didn't get as much shine over here in the US.
Yeah,
I mean, possibly, but I mean, he's one of the only fighters that ever avenged his losses, and that's very hard. When you're a fighter and you lose to somebody and you go back out there, it's I'm pretty sure it's never happened to me because I've never had a rematch. But I'm pretty sure in the back of your mind, the first loss is in your mind. He went out there and he destroyed these guys. The two losses that he had were by knockout. He came back and he knocked them out. He didn't win by decision. He knocked them out. One of them he made cry.
Oh man, yeah, that's how you get revenge.
Exactly. So, in my opinion, he's one of the best heavyweights.
Lennox Lewis.
For sure. And now talking about the modern day boxing, who's your current number one pound for pound fighter?
That's a tough one. I've been saying this for a while, and I think Tyson Fury's up there. Chocolatito's up there. He was very impressive in his last fight. Errol Spence, and he's up there too. Terrence Crawford, they're up there too. Who else? I'm trying to think.
Inoue?
Oh, the Japanese fighter. I heard, yeah. The one that knocked out the ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he came back and he looked very sensational, but I would have to see him against somebody, a different type of fighter, because, yeah. But I think the ones I mentioned, they're up there,
Yeah.
All right, I think we got a comment came in. Someone's saying Devin Haney.
Devin Haney.
Jesse.
You know what, David Haney, he looked very impressive in his last fight, man. He looked really, really impressive. I think he's gonna beat him a lot easier in this rematch. But yeah, I would say David Haney's up there. I mean, David, yeah, for sure in the top 10 pound for pound.
And I think
I would love to see David Haney versus Gervonta. That would be a good one.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one. They had a Twitter exchange not too long ago, so maybe that's something down the road. But going back to Haney, I was really impressed with him going all the way to Australia and kind of fighting the champion's backyard and coming back with the belts. That's definitely always impressive.
I think he's gonna beat him a lot easier this next fight. You know.
Yeah, that one's gonna be back here, right?
No, so on Australia
again.
Again. Yeah,
he goes in a rematch contract, right? That they're both in Australia.
Yeah, he'll probably get it again.
Yeah, because Devin Haney just agreed to everything in the contract, including the rematch being again in Australia. So,
yeah, see, man, that's a real champion right there, man. You gotta your hat has to, your hat has to go off to David Haney. He's up there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are your thoughts on the super bantamweight division? You got Fulton, MJ, you got Panterita Neri, and Alim.
I mean, that's a packed class. I mean, that's a packed division. But obviously, two fighters have the majority of the bouts, so that's gonna, So I think a unification fight between both of them would make sense. To see who takes all the marbles, and obviously it's a defense too, so the belts would more than likely allow it too.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that as well.
It's gonna be super stacked. Well, Neri has a fight coming up October 1st.
Yeah, I saw that. Neri's, he's hard too. His speed too. He sparred with him once. He's a really, really good fighter. So I want to see what he's gonna do against these two guys because, it's a packed weight class.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we spoke about some legends. So I want to ask you, Ronnie, who are some of the boxing icons that you had the chance to meet in person?
That I got to meet in person,
Mm-hmm.
Chavez Senior, Oscar. I got to talk to him on the phone. I didn't get to meet him personally. Marco Antonio Barrera.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got to see Pacquiao. I didn't get to meet him officially. Now, I got to meet Freddie Roach. That was pretty cool. He's not a boxing, but he's up there.
He's an icon. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, Evander Holyfield too. I got to meet Evander Holyfield too.
Oh, nice.
The real deal.
Yeah.
Real deal Holyfield.
Yeah. We met him on a boat. For all the finalists in the Golden Gloves, the Nationals. We got to meet him.
Nice. That's what's up, man.
I'm trying to think of his. Yeah,
that's a good list.
Yeah, that's a good list. But I'm pretty sure I'll meet more because my brother's still fighting, so I'm gonna go to all these fights.
Man, that guy is still doing his thing. He's gonna make an announcement too. He posted, so we're still looking forward.
Obviously I can't say much, but that's gonna be a big announcement, man. It's gonna be so
good. we'll stay tuned. We'll stay tuned.
Yeah, that's gonna be. That's right. That's cool.
Here comes the people segment here. So this is the segment where we ask you 3 potential fights. It's not something that's concrete. It's not certain. It's just rumors. So Joe and I, we take turns. We have 3 fights. He's gonna ask you the first one. I'll ask the second one, and he'll close it up with the third one on your thoughts on these possible fights.
Okay, so I pick the winner or what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Go, Joe. I'll give you number 1.
All right. So the first one we want to mention is someone you fought in the amateurs, Rais Alim. He was under Luis Ortiz, kind of undercard recently, versus one of the champions that's unified in that division, Stephen Fulton. So who win out of Alim versus Fulton?
I'm gonna have to go with Fulton. Fulton, yeah. He looked very impressive with that fight against Roman, and I just think, Fulton.
Fulton. Yeah, I'd probably give it to Fulton too.
Likewise.
Yeah, this next one. This one's going to be tough. So what do you think between Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson?
Oh, man. Honestly, man, that's going to be a tough one. But for some reason, I'm going to have to go with Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
He looked really impressive in his last fight. The only thing I would say about Tank is his power, because it's going to be at 135, correct?
Mm-hmm. It would be, yeah.
So I mean, Shakur has the height, and it looks like he has the muscle to do it. But that's the only thing I would say. Tank of the pop at 135, he hasn't adjusted to that weight.
Right. Yeah, I think Stevenson would take it if he keeps it technical, stays on the outside, and doesn't get too close to Tank. Because Tank just needs that one closed shot to just surprise you and stun you, and just take it from there.
I
It's
agree, but I mean, Tank also too, he's pretty fast too. So
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard to
pretty
hit him.
fast too. So it's not like he's just gonna load up on one hard shot. It's gonna be one quick shot too. So, but I'm gonna have to lean towards Shakur's team. So the only thing I can say he would have a problem is the weight. If he's adjusted to 135.
Yeah, it's amazing that Tank Davis is involved in a lot of this, like tantalizing future matchups. Like also like Haney Tank would be a good one. Tank Ryan Garcia would be another good one. The list goes on and on. Jesse says he thinks Tank might win because Shakur has never been hit like that before. But I guess the question is like you got to hit Shakur because he says really good defense.
Very slick, very slick.
Very
But
slick.
I think Ryan Garcia's at 140, isn't he?
He is, but I think he might go back down to 135 for Tank.
Yeah, Tank is not going up for anybody. Tank
No.
says if you guys want me, you guys have to come down and meet me at 135.
And you should. He's a champion.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're gonna be the best in your domain, how are you gonna? Okay, I'll fight you at your weight. Nah, I mean that's his weight class. Why would he go up?
I mean, once you're at that top, you have the belts. You don't want to move anywhere. And the thing that we see with Mexican fighters, well, not just Mexican, but other fighters that choose to chase greatness. We've seen it with Mikey Garcia. He tried it against Spence. He went up a couple divisions, and then we saw Canelo go up a couple divisions, and he didn't get the outcome. So he's probably thinking, I don't want to lose that, the winning streak.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take an L. So smart choice. I give it to him.
Yeah, no, that is a smart choice. I mean, we're always a lot of people are always getting criticized, like, oh, why isn't he fighting him? It's like, bro, it's like that's what they have weight classes for.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last match we want to ask you about, we had Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete on our show for a recent interview. He mentioned he may be moving up in weight, so we're thinking, what if he fought another fellow Mexican, Oscar Valdez? How do you see Navarrete versus Valdez playing out?
That's a tough fight. That's a good one. I don't know. That's gonna be. I might have to lean towards Oscar Valdez on that one.
Asking you fireworks.
I think speed. His speed and power. I think, and besides Navarrete, he's a big guy, but he's going up another weight class. And I just think I'm gonna have to go with Valdez on this one.
Yeah. Vaquero was saying, he'd fight Valdez. He liked that fight, and he said he would also like to go to fight Tank, and that they were in the works of trying to get that to happen, but it just never happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, anything can happen nowadays in boxing, so let's stay tuned.
Well, nothing. In a sense, it kind of could, but then I'm gonna have to say it goes back to the promoters. Not everything can happen. You know, unless they're working with each other. I mean, why not, man? There's so many fights to be made. There's so many fighters. There's so much money for these fighters to be made. Why not just work with each other? Why not just? You don't have to be freaking friends. You can just obviously get the deal done. You don't even have to sit next to each other.
Yeah. Well, he said he chose to re-sign with Top Rank. I guess he really likes Top Rank's promotions, and he said he's been getting the fights he's wanted with them. So he might be able to get him something he wants.
And that's good, man. If you feel comfortable with if you feel comfortable and you like a promoter, then why go elsewhere, right? The grass isn't always green on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But back to you, man. We're not gonna take the spotlight from you. What are the things you like to do outside of boxing? Any special interests and hobbies you do outside of the ring?
I mean, I started working in real estate pretty recently, and I really like that, and just honestly spending my time with my family. That's about it. Friends and family. The weapon?
I see you out there in the real estate, man. I see you posting.
Yeah, you gotta grind, man. But the thing is, I want to get some of these deals myself. Like, buy them and fix them up. It just we don't know where this market. Well, I don't know where this market's going, so it's kind of risky.
Yeah, I see a lot going out towards like the Inland Empire. I see a lot of movement. out there.
Yeah. But if you really notice, if you really look at the market, the houses in Corona and Riverside have dropped. Santa Ana's still pretty going pretty steady. Santa Ana. So one thing a lot of people don't see is like Santa Ana still sells.
Yeah, go visit Joe up north. See what you can sell out there in San Francisco. Flip them out.
The Bay Area.
Gosh, that is freaking that San Francisco's so expensive, man. That's
you telling me?
Second most expensive city in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even renting, it's renting like it's $2,000 a month for like a studio.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's cool, man.
Awesome. All right, Ronnie. Well, we don't want to take up more of your time. I'm sure we can talk boxing, all night with you.
All night.
So the last thing we want to kind of just give you the opportunity to just send a message to all your fans, supporters. What do you want to say to them? Floor is yours.
I just want to tell everybody, thank you guys for always supporting me through thick and thin. My team, my friends, my family, everybody that always stuck by my side, win or lose. Thank you guys so much. You guys have really meant a lot to me. You guys will continue to mean a lot, moving forward and whatever I decide to do. So thank you guys for everything. You guys too, man. Thank you guys for taking time out of your important day to just to do an interview. Thank you guys so much, man. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely, man.
Likewise for us, man. And you've been always match tough in your career, and I think that's one of the things that we love about you. You're just a throwback fighter that never shied away from a challenge. You done Santana proud, and I think you done, everyone in California proud. You definitely have done big things in the sport of boxing, and whatever you do, moving on from here is it's great with us. You can count on our support.
Absolutely, man.
Shout out to SOA.
Oh yeah. Before we wrap it up, we always give them props and thank them for being a proud sponsor to bring us the content. We usually do that after we close up the show, but what are your facts on them? Like, how did they come approach you to be your management? They do great work. I really like the whole logo, and they're coming up. I really like the company.
I mean, their merchandise is really good. Their shirts are comfortable. When you sweat a lot, they don't get all heavy and stuff. And I just think the people that work for them are awesome, man. I have nothing but great things to say about them, which it makes it easy to work with somebody. If you get along with somebody, it's gonna be super easy to to work with them, and it has, and they're doing big things, and they've continued to do big things. So I wish them nothing but the best, man. I see everything online, and man, those guys are killing it. So shout out to them, man, big time.
Yeah. All day.
They've only been around for about 8 months, and they've been killing it. They've discovered us through our YouTube channel, and been a great partnership. So again, a huge shout out to SOA Boxing for being kind of the first sponsor for our podcast. And again, thank you so much, Ronnie.
They're gonna continue to kill the watch.
Oh yeah,
they'll continue. For sure. Ronnie, thank you so much for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me on, man. You guys have a nice time.
Hey, and spank Alexi. Tell him, hey man, they're waiting for you.
I know, man. Tell him to stop lagging, man. I'll let him know.
Tell him you beat him to the punch. You were the first one on our podcast, but we'd love to have your brother on as well. So
I'll let him know, man. Tell him stop being a flake.
He's gotta
get it from his ear. There's plenty of that.
All right, Roddy. Have a great evening.
Good night, man.
Take care.
All right, take care.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, good night. And then everyone in the chat, we had Jesse, Tupac, Skywalker came in at the last second. Thank you guys for joining the interview. We look forward to bringing you more interviews just like this one. Appreciate the support, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace.